From climbing the search engine rankings to attracting a flood of organic traffic, this is your chance to harness the power of SEO and take your online presence to the next level. You don't want to miss it.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Welcome to tonight's episode of the Better Your Business Show. I am Natalie, your host, and my fabulous co-hostess with the mostest, we have Miss Shanna Mavis. Hey, tonight we are talking SEO, and I am very, very excited about this topic for many, many reasons.
Well, I love that we're talking about more than just SEO, right? It is when Sharon comes on, she's going to be talking about something that hasn't been widely known, but is tremendously important for so many business owners. I didn't realize until I was in the Business Growth Blueprint meetings. I was in her room. A few times I've been in her room, honestly, because it's just like, if I can't use it, I may know someone who can, right? But every business, she was explaining the importance for every type of business to make sure that their Google business profile is up to date. And then she knows even more now. It's just like there's so many changes that are rapidly happening. And so we're trying to make sure that business owners aren't waiting a few years before they realize how important this was. You've lost out on so much business potentially. So
yeah, and when we were speaking, there's something that came up just from that conversation that I've never considered before. She was saying, and I'm probably not going to say it correctly, but basically that Google ranks everything, any social media platform, anything, right? So if we're going to take the time to post on Facebook and post on Instagram, Google's way more powerful than they are. So we should be thinking more about having that Google profile done and mastered before, in addition to.
Yeah, it is interesting. And when you dig into it, I don't know how many people have actually looked at or how many business owners have looked at their Google business profile. I guess it seems like it should be simple, but there's so much to it. And, my mind was kind of blown with some of the things that she was saying. Even before the changes, it was like, okay, you got to make sure if you're this type of business, you do this. If you're this type of business, you do that. So it is that tailored to what you do that it makes such a difference. It can potentially bring you customers, get visibility, get eyes on your business that you wouldn't normally have, and that you can't get just from, hey, I'm going to get your business found on Google. There's a promise of that. And it was, we were talking about that before the show, was you do see that a lot. You get ads like that all the time. You're bombarded with DMs, with emails, with, inquiries on your website that are basically just saying, hey, I can help you get found. But what are you doing to help me get found? Because if I don't have my profile set up, it sounds like I'm just, throwing away good money, right? So it'll be interesting.
People are thinking enough about getting found. When she was coming, I was just kind of thinking about, my trajectory of being an entrepreneur. And I remember I would make 100 cold calls a day, which is insane to me to think I did that. I'd collect business cards. I mean, we literally had time scheduled. We would hit the streets and prospect daily. I mean, I still won't even buy real expensive heels because of, I would just go through shoes so fast, and, but with the heel getting stuck in the crack, you're just hitting the pavement, right? And I would just think, I can't even imagine doing that now. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so committed every day to at least putting something out there. I want visibility. I want to be seen. I want to be the person that you think of, right? And so with Google, you go there and Google's going to think of you. How would you like Google thinking of you and referring you, right? That's pretty powerful. And so she brought a wealth of information. I mean, she's been working in the realm of Google since 2005. This is definitely her niche. She is trademarked the Google gal. So we have Oprah, we have Madonna, we have the Google gal. Straight up, people, this is the Google gal. It's like the best of the best here tonight. So let's bring her in. She is the founder of Extend Marketing Partners. Hope we can bring Miss Sharon Miller, the Google gal, on stage with us. Carlton. All right. And there you are. Hey, Sharon.
Hello.
I'm so thrilled you're here. I felt like just even in our pregame, I mean, Shannon and I barely even talked. Honestly, we were just hanging on to like every word you were saying because you just bring so much value, and we have so much value for our audience tonight. I mean, Sharon's going to bring it not only with what she's going to share with you, but some of the stuff that she does to help people with their own personal Google profile. So Sharon, if you could just tell us a little bit about, your background, how you got started in this realm, why you love it, why you're so passionate about it. I think it'd be a good place to start.
Yeah, I can do that. So I have owned my own business for 20 years and was a small business consultant. I came out of the banking world in the commercial lending area, and I just saw that so many people would come to a bank and they would apply to a loan and they wouldn't get a loan. And the reason is because they didn't know how to talk about their business. So I started my own company in 2005, and I worked with small businesses and primarily startups to help them to learn how to talk about their business in a way that people who would want to invest in their company or lend them money would understand it. And so fast forward that, getting to 2012, and you started seeing the digital world coming into the marketing play, and I embraced it. And in 2014, Google was having a meeting here locally where I'm at, and I went to it and just thought, I'll just sit in the back of the room. So I did. And little by little, I started talking to people sitting around me and realized that the guy sitting right next to me was a gentleman that because of him, we have 360 walkthrough tours. So got to become friends with him, started actually selling his product to my clients and other individuals. And through all of that became, an organizational business under Google in 2016, helping people and helping Google with the development of the Google Business Profile Panel. And it used to be called Google My Business. So for you guys who may have known it as Google My Business, in October of 2022, they changed the name. So it's now Google Business Profile Panel. I personally was very happy they changed the name. I think this makes more sense. But regardless, anyway, about it, through this, I just became involved with Google, and my knowledge has only continued to grow because of the fact that I'm very, very, I'm in their training classes, why we beta test stuff. I've been here since the Google Business Profile Panel was just name, address, phone number, and a couple photos.
So tell me, I guess I want to know how it's not easy it's easy to set up. People can set it up themselves, but there's a lot of information that needs to go in there in order to do it right, to optimize it, I guess. Yes. How much time are you really looking at? And I know it's definitely easier they go for you, but if I'm trying to do it on my own, because that's how a lot of business owners start out, right?
Right. And they're a small business, and I will say, even if they do come to us, if they're a small business, we do our best to come up with a payment plan that makes sense for them so that we can get this done and we get it done quickly and right for them. But you can absolutely do it on your own. So it's business.google.com. So if you don't have a profile panel, and what I'm talking about when we're talking about this is that panel on desktop that sits on the right-hand side that educates you about a business, or when you want to drive somewhere, it's that mobile piece. And so it's that panel. That's it, what we're talking about. And so in 2019, this basically became the place that Google goes first to learn about your business. And in February of 23, it became the first place it sends search to. And along the way, it stopped searching anything else besides these two panels to learn about your business. Between your profile panel and your website, They look at nothing on social media or anything more than just seeing that you're growing followers.
Okay.
Because it helps Google, it helps expand your brand. If Google can see that your brand is growing, even if you're not doing a lot here, at least they understand your brand is growing in strength. And that's a really big thing. But this panel, you're right. Anybody can set it up. I always tell people, schedule a call with us and let us help you set it up. Because if we help you set it up, it's going to get set up without you having to go, should I be clicking on that? How do I really answer this question? And then doing something wrong that causes you to take forever to get verified. And then you got a panel that nobody can see. But the building out part, if you're going to build out your Google Business Profile panel, if you're going to do it right, once you get educated and you know what to put where, you're going to expect to spend 30 to 40 hours on this panel over several months to get it done. Because just for the fact that it's so time consuming, there's easy ways to do it. You can put some stuff out there to get out information out enough to be dangerous. But if you really want to take the time and educate Google and make them your biggest fan, it takes work. I tell people all the time, this is going to have 10 times more data on it than your website ever will if you do it right.
Which seems crazy. But I love that you said that. And I've been in a room with you, right? So I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying to be correct. But your website, a lot of people will just dump so much information on their websites, for lack of a better way of putting it, when most of that, it sounds like, should be put on the Google Business Profile to help Google better understand what you're doing, how your business operates. Is that correct? Is it that a lot of what the information they're trying to shove into a website should go over there? I mean, I guess it depends on the right information.
First of all, Google doesn't want a lot of data on your website, or at least not on the homepage. Let me rephrase that. On your homepage. So they always say 400 to 700 words on your homepage, and then put your data so people click and they move off of your homepage. So there's a real trick to getting your website to rank well too. And so, I have a totally free class that I run. It's called branding your business on Google. It's a 90-minute class. First part, we talk about kind of how Google learns about your business, where Google sends search and how they decide to how search goes. And then the last piece is, how do I really clean up my website so that Google likes it? So just, I think Shanna's they're going to put that link up here potentially later on, but it's free. So, if you want to learn a little bit more in that regard.
So awesome.
So, but what I can tell you is, when Google created the profile, what they wanted out of that profile was to learn specific things. And so they created it in 2013, and they grew it and they grew it and they grew it. And along the way, they started adding other stuff. So they had this thing that says, hey, by the way, we want to see posts on your Google Business Profile panel. If you're posting on social media and you're not posting on your Google Business Profile panel, you're hurting yourself, because Google's 92.7% of every search out there, and people go there first. Funny little fact, number one thing searched on Bing, 87% of the time is google.com. So even the Bing lovers want to go to Google. So, or feel forced to be on Bing and they really want Google. If you ever have that problem, I probably should just do a class or do a little recording and put it on YouTube to show you all how to make sure that you get rid of Bing and Google becomes your search engine on your PC. Anyway.
Well, that is the reality, because I know a lot of the times, Microsoft will force you to use Edge, right? That's the browser that comes up, and immediately I'm like, Google Chrome, give me Chrome so that I can do what I want to do.
How to get rid of that? Yeah, I'm going to work on that. Put something on our YouTube channel about how you fix that little problem, so everybody gets on Google, so you don't have to have that fight anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. Along the way, Google added services, products, the ability to have reviews. They've added all kinds of photos that you can put up yourself. And they added Q&A, along with several other things that are a little more minor in the process. The biggest thing for people to understand is that when they do that, it's because Google wants to understand and learn about your business in that way. if you don't build that stuff out and embrace it, you're losing critical, I guess, searchability, because you're not educating Google in a way that Google wants to be educated. They secondarily go to your website. And that's why in 2023, they decided to make search go to this Google business profile first, because they said, if we want all this data, we're collecting it. We're going out and learning about your business because you're telling us exactly what we want to know. We're going to reward you for it. And so let's just send search there first. And that's what happened. A lot of people don't even understand that how important this panel is. It is the single most important piece of your digital footprint for your business, and has been since 2019. And now it's even more important than it's ever been before.
So let me ask you, is there a certain type of business that should be on here more than others? Because part of what I think of too is, let's just say I'm a startup type of business. All of a sudden I do good on Google and I don't have the capacity to take on that much business yet, right? Yeah. That can be a little bit intimidating. All of a sudden it's like, I'm not ready for all that yet. Yeah. Or, should it be a brick and mortar? Can e-commerce be on there? Should we have the show on there? What type of?
Yeah. So you have to be either a brick and mortar building. And if you have a brick and mortar building, you have to have a panel. I mean, I don't care if you are a State Farm agent, you're a restaurant, you're a plumber, med spa, law firm. If you have a location, you have to have a panel, because it used to be that Google would realize that you had a location and they would just create one. That's how it was done initially, before you could claim it and create your own and actually, start from scratch by yourself. And so now it's not as much like that. And so now you really need to get out there and be your own advocate and create this panel. I mean, I actually have a cousin right now. He started a business, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so. They're doing all their business on Facebook. They don't have a website, don't have a Google business profile panel. I sent his wife a text the other day and said, please invite me over for dinner.
Yeah. You guys are driving me crazy, huh?
We're already busy. I said, but you're already busy. But I said, here's what happens. Somebody says, hey, by the way, you should go search this person. And they almost always give her husband's name because they don't remember the name of the business because they're so new. And I don't even myself remember the name of the business. But in that being said, without a Google business profile panel, he can't even be found in Google search. So unless they have his name and they have his telephone number right there when they go into Google and they do a search, because he has no website, he has no Google business profile panel, his Facebook page has not been up very long to really be probably indexed well, he's probably not getting found. So what they're going to end up doing is they're going to go out to white pages and they're going to search his first and last name and the city he lives in, and they're going to call his home number, because it's the only way they're going to find him right now. He doesn't have a business front at the moment, but that's okay. The other way that you're allowed to have a business panel in Google is because you service your local market. Now, with that said, if you're a coach, a consultant, in any type of an industry, and you work nationally, that's perfectly fine. This panel's geared for local search. So you have to prove to Google that you're willing to get in your car and drive 20 minutes away and have a sit-down meeting with somebody. And as long as you're willing to explain that to Google, you're allowed a panel. Your website's what's going to search you on a national level. But this panel is where Google's still going to go to learn about you first. So whether you want to be searched on a national level, you got to build it out for local search and local service market that you are living in and working in, whether you have an address or not. And then you start telling Google everything about you, and Google starts going, this is amazing.
So what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen business owners make when they're trying to set this up themselves? I mean, if we can avoid one mistake, I would love that. So what are some of the things that you've seen?
Yeah. So when you're setting it up, one of the questions it asks you, it says, do you see customers at your location? And most people, we're digital world now. I mean, like more than ever before. And you click no. And then they go to the next one and says, do you service people in your local area? And they go, well, I want to be national. And they hit no. And suddenly Google says, you can't have a panel. I'm sorry. And that's the end of it.
So what happens if you don't have a panel, and we've said you need one, right? How do you get that back? What do you, because it's detrimental, right?
Yeah. So you're going to go out and so two things. If you have a panel and it's suspended, you need to call us. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, don't try to unsuspend a panel on your own. I cannot emphasize that enough. So if you went from having an address to moving out of your storefront, like a lot of people did during COVID, and now you don't have an address, there's some things you needed to fix along the way when that happened. If you didn't fix it the right way, you probably got suspended. There's lots of ways to get suspended that you don't even have any control over, because it's an algorithm thing with Google, and their algorithm runs and they say, we're going to check this industry today. And they run hundreds of millions of sites and it runs through really, really fast. And all of a sudden you're suspended. You didn't even do anything. We still have to send in a reinstatement request form to get reinstatement. And we just say basically no changes have been made to the panel. We don't understand why it's been suspended. And if it's still suspended, then we have to really go do searching. We got to really dig through your panel and get access to the back of it and just really figure out what happened that Google doesn't like it. But for most people, when you're going to start a panel at the very beginning, all the areas it says, do you want to fill this or skip it? Skip it. So tell it, yes, no, I do not have a physical location, or yes, I do. When you get to the next one and ask for your service area, all I want you to do is put the county you live in the state you're in there and hit next. That gets you going. At least Google says, okay, good. They service people in the county that they live in. Doesn't matter what zip code. It absorbs every zip code. I tell most people, grab the county you live in and every county that touches it. Do not exceed that area or you will hurt yourself in search. But if you want to do that. And then go on, and everything after that, you're just going to skip, because it's going to take too much time for you to figure out what to do and then to actually type it up and do it right. And just skip it. Let the panel get verified. And when you get your postcard from Google and you verify your postcard, now you can go in and, and do your panel. The other thing it's going to ask you is for your primary category. So the first thing it says is, what is your business name? The second thing is, what is your category? Category is a good way to get yourself killed in Google, because, and I say that because like people might say, well, I do this or I do that. And then it's really kind of a stretch in what they do, but they liked that category, how it sounded, but then Google can't really validate through your website or anything at this point in time that you really do that. And it's a good way to hurt yourself. The other thing is, if you kind of go off the beaten path and just say, I like what this category looks like, you're teaching something about your business immediately that may not be 100% correct. If you are a coach or a business consultant, I would start off by just hitting the word consultant. Let that be your primary category. Come to my free dashboard training class and learn a little bit more about the uniqueness of how you would add additional categories, because we talk about that in the dashboard training. My next training, I just had one today, unfortunately, but my next one is March 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern time in the afternoon, totally free. Whether you have a panel set up or not, you are welcome to attend that class and learn a lot that a lot of nuggets you'll never get anywhere else, because I teach this class so much. We know this so in-depthly, and we have lived and breathed this panel since March of 2016. It is the primary thing that we do in our company outside of adding the Google tags to the back of your website so it ranks well, and setting up an SEO package specifically designed to rank you in Google. This panel is your lifeline to search. So come to the training, learn some more. I would say the other thing that happens when people are developing their Google panel is a lot of people are not aware of the fact that on the fall of 2022, Google turned their marketing 360. It used to be that Google would come out here and they would learn everything they knew about you and they would just throw data out there. if you're in the area, hopefully it grabbed people, whatever. They finally said, we're going to go to the customer, learn what the customer wants, and then find the people who did the best job on their Google Business Profile panel, explaining to us that they work specifically with those people and why we'd want to pick them. And we'll take it to them. If you're not talking to Google and explaining to them when you're building this panel out who your client base is, ideal client. We all know, everybody says, well, we can work with anybody. I can work with anybody, but we have our things that my staff loves. And the other day I went through and asked my staff, if we made a list of industries you'd want to go after, who would they be? And they gave me like 20 things, pretty much exactly what I thought they would be. And in the end, I mean, like my company, my staff, they love trade companies. They love dentists, orthodontists, chiropractors, all that kind of stuff, but we work with everybody. I mean, there isn't an industry out there we probably have not touched, from manufacturing to medical to, life coaches, you name it. We've done it. But if you don't go out there when you're doing this process and explain to Google who in your plumbing business you ideally want to work with, or, who in your coaching business you ideally want to work with, Google doesn't know.
Right.
In that, you're going to build out the areas that you want to service, or tell Google that you're servicing. So right there, Google says, okay, well, we're in this little circle. And then in that little circle, you like working with med spas. So I tell people, go out to Google Maps and search med spas and kind of see where they are in your area too, to make sure that you've captured that area in your service market. But then next to that, tell Google you want to work with med spas. Tell them you want to work with dentists. Tell them who you want to work with. Tell them that I have one of our coaches, and her ideal target are licensed individuals that have, and by that meaning accountants, doctors, and what's her other one? I can't remember what the other one was. Lawyers. And she wants to start working with them when they hit about the age of 45 and they're hitting that burnout and they've made a lot of money. They got 10 more years to go, or maybe 5 more years, or whatever that looks like. And then they want to exit, and they want to start figuring out what does that look like to exit, but, have some revenue stream when they walk away. So she helps them to kind of start creating a business that can grow, whether that's speaking business or whatever that may look like, some kind of consulting or coaching business. When we put everything out there in her, every photo we put out there is a doctor, a dentist, or a lawyer. Or we say it in there, working with professionals that are doctors, dentists, and accountants, So you have to trade Google on who that client is, so they know exactly who to bring to you. That is a huge, huge thing. And that transition officially went into effect and happened for a lot of people November 1st of last year. They gave you a year to clean your act up and began that process of educating them. Most people never knew it happened. We saw people who had almost they're just tanked. Their websites tanked almost overnight. And their Google Business Profile panel was already not good. And now it's horrible. So that process has to happen in your website. It has to happen on your Google Business Profile panel. A lot of ways we do that. And this is my little nugget for you guys. You can build out products on your Google Business Profile panel. And in the end, that is going to be an industry. So you can build out all your products of like, I sell this, I do this, I coach for this or that. And then you can build out an industry one. And in the description of industry, you put the name of the industry, you image it in a photo, because photos and images required for Google products. And in the description, when you write about it, you write why that industry, or why that type of person. Down the line, you're going to build out services then, because your products are kind of black and white. But in this now, we've flat out told Google without any question, this is who we want. If other people find us, that's great and terrific, and we'll work with everybody.
Yeah.
But, it's customer forward facing marketing. So one of the things we found with all this, Shanna, last year, we had a client that came in and she had only 4 products she did. And we went through the process of like, going into Google, acting as if we were her client, and trying to reverse engineer marketing to get back to Google to her. We couldn't do it on her fourth product that she sold. And it took us searching like 6 or 7 different ways to finally get to the point that search brought us to what she did. She'd been teaching Google for 3 years that she was something she wasn't. By the way, she was talking about what she did, because at no point did she ever start searching that to determine that like it actually got anybody to her.
Right.
Wow.
Which is the point of all of it, right? I mean, why do all these things, put all these things in place if no one can find us? And it makes me think too, when it comes to people getting into sales or being in any type of entrepreneurial position, the first thing you say is, well, how do I get leads? Well, I can tell you the best way right now is get your Google business profile set up to be one of the best things you can do for your business. So we are going to go into Just Good Business real quickly. Make sure that you tag someone you care about that needs to learn more about SEO, that wants to grow their business, that wants to make more money while we go into Just Good Business.
Stay with us, Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, so tonight's Just Good Business. I actually just learned about this business earlier this week. It was interesting to me because the founder, Janitra is her name, she had this heart to serve young mothers and give them skills that they didn't have in order to help them change the trajectory of their lives. And I love there's a quote that's on there, and I won't be able to read it from this tiny screen here. But I think the thing that stood out to me was changing those people's lives is going to change the community, which is going to change the world, right? So it was really the thought that she had beyond just this person. It was, how is this going to make a huge difference in their commitments there? And you can see a little bit more about her. But yeah, her heart to serve these young mothers and give them skills that will help them support their family, that will help them teach their children that there's more to life than just the struggle that they were accustomed to. And a lot of it stemmed from her journey, being homeless and trying to raise a family. She wants to make sure that no one has to go through that, especially these young mothers in Broward County, Florida. So love that she's purpose beyond profit. We wanted to support that, and we're going to try and bring her on the show as soon as we can to learn more about the organization, see how we can support it, see how we can help her grow, what challenges she's facing, and help her overcome those. So tonight's Just Good Business was Moms to Tech.
All right, and we are back. We are talking SEO. Make sure that you give us a like, share, subscribe, tag your favorite business owner. And if you're on the podcast, you can, well, I was going to say search us on Google. I don't even know if it'll come up on your Google. It comes up after what I learned from Sharon tonight. I think it'll come back right away, right?
Oh,
But
great.
go to Instagram. Right, yeah. Subscribe to our broadcast channel. As we're building out that channel, we're going to have all sorts of wonderful things going out for you guys. Freebies, the grants are going to go through there. I know Sharon's giving some awesome free classes that will be in there. And then lastly, too, I do want to mention, just from the Just Good Business, we do have the grants and stuff that we are working on. Things are going to be starting. And as that is growing and manifesting, part of what we want to do as the show is also help give back to some of these Just Good Business, some of these organizations financially. And so you'll have opportunities to be able to do that as well. But to stay in the know, we're not going to bombard you with spam. You're going to get the freebies, the steps going on. If you want to take advantage of that, you'll hear from us once a week. But again, it's going to be value to those who are subscribed to our broadcasting channel. So we are here. We want you guys to go and show us the money, the Better Your Business show. That's what we are here to do for you. So tonight we are talking SEO. Have people calling you instead of you having to make those cold calls. We have Sharon Miller here, the Google gal herself, right? So Sharon, all right.
Natalie is
I'm like
amazing at hyping everyone up. There's not one guest that's been on here that just hasn't walked away feeling so much better. I do have just a pressing question for you, Sharon, because you mentioned your Google business profile being suspended. How do you know? How do you know that it's suspended and that you're not able to be found?
So when you go into it and you're in like your working piece, so you pull it up and you're logged in with the user that manages the account, you see the working board, the dashboard next to it on it, and you're going to see it's going to have a notification on it that says that your panel has been suspended. It's normally a box that's kind of below it and says your panel is currently suspended. And then click here, and it will tell you like what you can do to work to unsuspend it. There's two types of suspensions that you can get with Google. You can get a regular suspension, which means like you're doing something that they don't like. So they're going to allow your panel to sit there, but no one can interact with it. And you can't update anything and make it live. The other one is a hard suspension because you've really done something wrong. And they just take your panel down altogether. And when that happens, you're normally 6 months that you are in, detention before you get it back.
6 months?
6 months.
Okay. And so I guess I want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly. If I don't have it set up or if I'm suspended, it's not impossible, but very difficult for me to be found. Is that correct?
If you have just a standard suspension, your page is going to be able to be found, and they're still going to be able to go to your website and call you. But if they wanted to like leave a review, that option will not be there. They were at your restaurant and they want to, put a photo of their food. It's not an option. They cannot do anything else to interact with your panel. And if you want to put a post up on your panel, it's not going to show. New photos, new posts, anything. Well, it won't even let you post or add new photos while you're suspended, but nothing else you do to your panel will show. Now, is some of the reason you're suspended is because you made a name change, or maybe you had your name out there a certain way and Google made a change and you weren't aware of it and you didn't fix it. They might suspend your page, and it may be so easy as you go in and update your name, which no one's going to see in the outside world. And then there's a document you fill out to let Google know you made this change. Problem is, most people never know about the changes to have any idea. The other thing that can be suspended are just your photos and just your reviews. So your panel itself may not be suspended, but Google may think that you are review slamming. So that may be like you hired an outside company. We ran into this recently because we have a lady who works with children with maybe they had a concussion playing football or something, and she helps like recenter the brain. They call putting the rocks back kind of thing, and helping these kids. And because of this, like football players, soccer players, that kind of stuff. And then other kids who just like, maybe you're in a car wreck and they got a really bad concussion, so it affected the brain in a certain way. So majority of her people, I would say not majority, let's say 60% of her people are kids. Well, parents then leave a review and they say, my child, blah, 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 blah. Well, suddenly all your reviews start out by saying like, my child saw Dr. Lala and this happened and this happened and this is what was accomplished from it. And we are so grateful. Well, all of a sudden she was really making an effort to get reviews. Most of the people who were willing to leave a review were stay-at-home moms or moms that, and saying like, she changed my child's life. I want other parents to understand this. That child is going through the same thing. They review suspended her because all her reviews that started to come in started sounding the same. Well, it does sound the same because that's the people she works with. And so trust me when I say getting a review suspension off it's a little bit of a challenge, and you have to work through it. it has to be done, and it has to get done. The reason that is because Google goes through, and one of the things they watch are reviews. So they really set a lot of algorithms up, because it's not fair to another business if you go buy reviews.
Right.
And so they go out and they look at reviews when you get them, to make sure that it doesn't seem like you're doing that. And for this lady, it just happened to kind of fall in that same time that her, the medical industry she's in was what they were really watching. Google has actually filed lawsuits at over 600 businesses in the last 2 years that do review spamming, that you can hire to do review spamming, and has, to get them shut down. So if you have photos, it's the same way. If you have photos and they may be we've seen dentists have this, orthodontists, they've got all these little kids, they take their picture and they're smiling and happy, their teeth look great. For whatever reason, if Google thinks that it's a bunch of stock images, they're going to stop letting you put photos up. Sometimes your spam, this is a really big thing. I'm going to say this because this is super important. Years ago, if you were a real estate agent, not a brokerage house, if you were an agent and you set up your panel, the way Google wanted it was your name, comma, real estate agent, comma, and the agency you worked with. October 1st of last year, sometime last year in October, Google made a change, and now they want to just see your name only and your primary category to be real estate agent. If you've not made that change, we have seen real estate agent panels all over getting suspended. And these real estate agents have no idea why. And it's as simple as getting their name in alignment with what Google wants now. But Google's not out there screaming at the top of their lungs saying, hey, we did this. So even for me, like, I had to go through call after call to Google and get finally to the manager, one of the managers in, the suspension area, and be like, help me. And then finally she actually emailed me like 4 examples of the ways that they could fix it and what was going to be acceptable and not acceptable. Like, she had a big X on the ones that weren't acceptable, big check mark on the ones that were. And if it wasn't for that, even I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, that's where it kind of sucks, though. That's where it kind of sucks, because if we don't, if we weren't doing this show, there's a lot of information that many people wouldn't know, and you're suspended, and there's nothing that, there are things that you can do about it. But you said yourself that it wasn't widely known. It's not like they were announcing this change. How do you stay up to date with this? Or as the average person that's not the Google gal, right? How do you find these things out?
You just have to start searching. There's a lot of blogs out there on like suspended panels and what might have caused it. And that's all that you can do is search. You can go on, Google has their own online support search place. It's support.google.com. And if you go in there, you can type in my Google business profile is suspended, and they give you their guidelines that you have to meet. And if you read through them, you go, oh, yeah, I kind of didn't do that. But a lot of people, you'll read through them and go, doesn't make any sense. I would say that 60% of the people who come to us with a suspended panel, within an hour, we can figure out why it's suspended and begin the process of fixing it. The other 40%, a lot of times even word of loss. So a lot of times we go in and we go to Google and petition to be reinstated. And if they come back and say, nope, then we've got to really start doing search. And we got to start looking in the photos that they posted. Is there something in a review that's out there that's not looking right? We got to go into, just anything and everything and start reading each piece to consider, like, did a photo of a school maybe have, a liquor bottle sitting in the corner, in one little corner of a photo, So we have to start playing detective and really, from our knowledge of what they do and don't allow, and really just start going through. We had a client a while back that they were suspended, and, they moved. When they moved, they changed their address. They didn't have signage up at their new location. In fact, the street that their building was built on was not even yet on Google Maps. Google suspended their panel. That was August. We got them off of suspension 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Their old address all this time has been up on their panel. So luckily, nobody really drives to them because they're a like an emergency water removal type company. So, so it was we didn't have to worry about a lot of people trying to drive there, but people who were trying to deliver stuff to them were still going to their old location. And we still don't have Facebook unsuspended. We don't do social media typically, but in this situation, we finally figured out how to unsuspend them on Google. So we're going through the process to help unsuspend them on Facebook. It finally took us getting pictures of a sketch art of what their signs were going to look like sitting on the property, getting them to get a window clingy that went on their glass door that you entered, and a couple clingies on the walls inside the business, and getting the permit that was applied to for their signage to go up from the county, showing that they've been through one meeting and it's been preliminary approved. Christmas happened, so they didn't have another meeting, and they weren't meeting until I think 2 days ago to actually give their approval, but the signs were ready. So we had all the pictures of the signs. We had the contract with the sign company. We went out had him change his address on the Better Business Bureau. We went out and got a copy of that, copy of the states where he changed his address, copy of his bank statement and some of his bills for his, and we took all kinds of pictures of the inside and outside of his business. I mean, it was the biggest zip file I've ever sent to Google. And I felt terrible for the guy because his panel has been suspended since August when he moved. And I mean, we didn't know what else to do. We were because we know what Google wants, but we kept thinking, oh, the county's going to approve this in December. And when that didn't happen, we're like, or in November, and they didn't meet in December, we're like, we got to figure something else out. So I just kept sending stuff in and sending stuff in and sending stuff in. And finally, I'm like, wait, let's get the sign company and the county to give us proof they've applied to put the signs in and what the signs are going to look like. And finally, that was like hour after we sent the zip file. It was unsuspended. Now we're still dealing with Facebook, but we're a lot further than we were. But we went to all the social media panels that weren't suspended. We did address changes there, and we changed the address on their website, and we did all this stuff. So, I mean, it's tricky.
Yeah.
So can we talk a little bit about, because like if I'm watching the show and all of a sudden I'm like all fired up about Google My Business and all the changes I want to make right now, it's like, okay, that was a nightmare. Maybe I don't want to work on my business. That's not selling me the dream, Sharon.
Yeah.
So what could be, some great stories that you could share from Google, or some of the additional benefits that you could share to say, hey, I want to get this done. This is important for my business.
Yeah. So I will tell you that most people, as soon as within no time of working on your panel and starting to give Google data, you're going to see about a 500 to 3,000% increase. I always tell people normally within the first 90 days, if you really continue to build it out. One of the biggest things I can tell you is Google doesn't like data dumping. So pick one product that you want to build on and build it all the way out. So say, this is my product. So I'm going to have a graphic and I'm going to write about what that means in black and white to Google. And when you build a product, you can hit a button that says learn more, and you're going to send them to your website. Now I'm going to build my services out. So how do I service that product? And what benefit is my service of that product going to give to somebody? What's their aha moment of me providing that service along with the product? So you write your services out. You're going to put up Q&A as well, because 68% of all searches are done in the form of a question. And putting Q&A out on your Google Business Profile panel is not an option. It is a necessity. So you take and you built one product out. You built maybe 4 services, 5 services along with it, and 4 or 5 Q&A. Already Google's loving you, because now you said, I've got this product. This is what I do. And kind of this is who my ideal clients are. I've got these services, and these services are how I service that client in that product. Now I've got some great Q&A around it, and you put that up, and you put up some photos So Google sees you as being real. I tell people, if you don't have a physical location, if you have a physical location, they want 3 photos of the outside of the building, one from the right, one from the left, straight in front of your building. Make sure your building number shows. And 2 inside. If you don't have that, which so many of you will not, what you need to do is, like right now when we're on this call, do a screenshot. So you show that you're real, and screenshot you on calls with your clients. But because we have to prove to Google you do local service as well, when you're out at a networking event, or you're out talking to a client, or you just meet somebody and you start talking about what you're doing, or shoot, just grab a friend and take a picture of you out, put it on Canva, put your logo on and say, another great meeting in blah, blah, blah area, whatever it is, Golden, Colorado, I don't care, and put it up. You're reaffirming to Google what you do and where you do it and who you do it to. Another great meeting with an accounting firm. This is your way to put photos up for Google to see that you're real. That's what you have to prove to them, because there's a lot of scammers out there. And that's why this has become so much more difficult, because it's your job to prove that you're real. So, through all the things that you're writing, if somebody's a scam, they're not going to take the time to build out services, build out products. They may put a few little things on there, but then they're not going to make the effort. And once you've done one product, you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And now you're ready to go to the next product. If you have one product, and you do it to 5 clients, you can build the product out as a product and then build the product out specifically to those markets. So if you say life coach, or just say business coach, and then you say business coach, trade industry, trade companies. It's a product. Same description is going to come, but now I just told Google, I work with this industry. Could be you work in the automotive industry, you work in this. So a product doesn't just have to be that product that you do. You can build the product out 4 or 5 times and highlight your services. Highlight your service market or ideal client within it. So just know that, and same way when you talk about your products, you talk about your services, you do the same thing. If you do services and you want to specifically start kind of feeding in those industries that are your ideal client, I would keep your ideal client to 3 to 5 clients, because you need Google to learn about you little by little, and you don't want a data dump. So pick a product, pick a client, do some building, see what it does for you.
I see Diamond wants to be on the show tonight. She wants to learn how to be found on Google. That's amazing.
I hope she's not telling me, Mom, I need to go outside.
And I do have a masterclass that I teach. I mean, it is a paid course, of course, and it is a 6-week in-depth, 90 minutes a week class. It's called Branding Your Business for Google. And it literally starts from, how does Google see you? What does it know by your logo, your tagline, and your colors? And then we send you off your homework for the first week, doing all kinds of search stuff. The next week, it's all about building your avatar and really narrowing down who that is and what that looks like for you. The following week is 90 minutes about imaging your business. After that, we take a week break, and after that, it's game on. Services, products, Q&A for 2 solid weeks. The homework is intensive between week 4 and week 5. And the last week, it's all about your website, because your website's got to rank well for Google too. And Google has things it wants to see. If you take my free 90-minute class on, everything you need to know about Google for your business, we talk about this piece of the website in there, and you actually get a handout you get to take with you. If it's you'll get a follow-up email from me, and it'll have 2 handouts in it. And the one is all about the things that Google wants to see on your website.
Yeah, this is where it makes me so mad and I want to just call out that LinkedIn guy and just, when will the lies end guy, because he made it seem like it was so easy, and you give it's not that it's a lot, right? There's so much that needs to go into this that you have to think about. in order to make sure that you're found. We just don't want people spending
Yeah.
so much time doing things the wrong way. And it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's quick and easy. Lies.
Yeah.
So
I tell people all the time, sometimes it's worth paying my team to do it, because your money and your time and your frustration is worth turning it over to the experts. Some people can't afford to do that. So, when they can't afford to do that, then I'll do everything I can to get them in my master class in a way that, even if it takes me taking $100 a month from them to get them in my 6-week class, so that they can get the knowledge that they need, because everybody deserves the right to rank well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
One of my
Sharon.
biggest takeaways from this too is my Google My Business page looks like a scam. I mean, if it's not completely generated, I look like a scam. So awesome. I'm fired up about that.
And in fact, my staff is working on mine right now. So we actually had a 2-hour staff call on Monday, and we went through and broke down all the services and products, because we're updating all of our marketing right now. Because when you get so busy like we do, I mean, sometimes it's like I'm up at midnight. I've been up at midnight trying to get our new website launched, because I don't have any other time. Because I have a hard time telling people, no, you got to wait 3 weeks, because I know 3 weeks of not getting your Google panel set up and working the right way, it's huge. Yeah. It's 3 weeks, you're 3 weeks longer.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sharon. This has been amazing. I've learned a lot again. In a couple of weeks, you're going to be at the Business Growth Blueprint Conference in Ohio.
Yeah, and one of the 5 keynote speakers.
Yeah, we'll be putting some information out about that pretty soon on our social media. You can look on Business Empire Financial social media. There's going to be more information about that conference coming up, but you'll get a chance to hear Sharon speak more on this topic. But yeah, we really appreciate all of the knowledge that you've dropped tonight. It's been amazing. So I guess it's time for grants. We're going to talk about some money. Okay, Carlton, if you'll bring up the website, we're going to look at anyone can go here, boundlessfutures.org. They've got a couple of grants tonight that we want to look at. The Empower Her grants, 22 years of old female entrepreneurs, less than 3 years in business. So, and you've got to be doing something that it says your business must address a social issue directly or through its business model. So you've got the access to up to $25,000 in business support, plus you get financial marketing, leadership training, if any of that sounds familiar, infrastructure, marketing, management, finance, and credit. Those 5 pillars of sustainable business. So they focus on a lot of those things. And then the other one is for 501c3s. Barbara, if you're out there listening, nonprofit organizations that support female entrepreneurs through education, mentorship, financing, or other mission-aligned programming, up to $30,000 in support. Plus, they also still have that skills and education that you need. So think about that. It's not just about getting the money. And that's one of the things that, reasons that I love working with Business Empire Financial is because let's say you get this money, what are you going to do with it? We want to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing, that money is not wasted, but it's invested in your business and in yourself, because this can change, your life. It's leaving a legacy behind. So grants are great. Getting that money is perfect, but knowing what you're going to do with it, and then also positioning yourself in the best way possible to get the money. We want to help you with that. So those are our grants for tonight.
Yes. Whoop, whoop. Yes. So guys, again, I know we went through that fast. We're always flying into the end of the show. So again, if you go to and subscribe to our broadcast channel, you'll have access to all that stuff. So I'm going to wrap us up real quick with Barbara, real quick with the Money Minute. So question that I have for you guys, I had 2 things planned out. Last season, I was showing you guys different ways that you can make money online or from home. Seasons prior to that, I was just sharing different tips that you can use. So which do you like better? Let me know and I'll focus on that. But I will tell you that we're in February. A lot of people, their New Year's resolutions were, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to do better with your finances. How are you doing? Statistically, most have thrown in the towels with that if you're a New Year's resolution type of person. So what I want to share with you is you can choose to recalibrate at any time, get back to it to see what you need to do. So budgeting tip today is if you haven't started budgeting your personal finances, you're definitely not budgeting your business finances. Go to Google and you can look up what is your best Googling app, which I happen to do already for you. There's 5 of them that came up. Just because of time, we're going to wrap up. Some are free, some are cost. If you haven't budgeted before, look at which one's best for you. I'd say you'd probably start out with the free version based on my research. The paid versions are just for people who've had a little more experience. But the bottom line is if we are to be entrusted with more, if we want to expand, we have to build a great foundation first in anything. So that's tonight's show. Lots of value tonight. If you're here watching the replay, make sure you put #replay in the comments. Sharon's classes in there. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, tag a business owner that wants to rank higher on SEO and grow their business. We appreciate you guys. Hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day. We love you, and we will see you next